When I was a young man, I thought the key to wealth was simply earning more. If I could just get that next raise, that bigger commission check, or that higher paying job, surely that would mean I was on my way to riches. But here's what I learned the hard way. Income is not wealth. Income pays the bills, yes, but wealth builds freedom. You can earn a six-figure salary and still be broke if you spend it all. And you can earn a modest income and grow rich if you direct a portion of it toward assets that multiply. The real game isn't how much flows in, it's how much stays, how much grows, and how much eventually works without you. That's why I tell people to track their net worth, not just their paycheck. It's a very simple discipline, but it changes your whole perspective. Sit down with a notebook or spreadsheet. List your assets, subtract your liabilities, and look at the number. Then update it every month. That number tells the truth. It shows whether you're building freedom or just chasing expenses. The goal is not just to make a living, it's to design a life. And wealth is what gives you that choice. One of the oldest yet most powerful principles of wealth is this: spend less than you earn. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but it's where wealth begins. If every dollar that comes in goes right back out, there's no seed to plant, no surplus to grow. Wealth doesn't come from income alone. It comes from the margin, the gap between what you make and what you keep. And that gap is something you must create on purpose, because the world is full of things designed to take your money before you've even earned it. I remember when my income first started to rise. I thought that meant I could relax and spend freely. But I soon discovered that higher income without discipline only creates bigger problems. So I had to learn the discipline of margin. It wasn't about deprivation, it was about purpose. If you cut just one non-essential expense this week, a fancy coffee, an unused subscription, a night out, and redirect that into savings or investments, you've started the process of wealth. It's not the size of the gap at first, it's the habit of creating one. And over time, that small discipline grows into freedom. Wealth lives in the margin. The mistake most people make is treating savings as what's left after the bills, after the spending, after the fun. But by then, there's usually nothing left. The philosophy of wealth says you don't wait to see what's left over, you pay yourself first. That means the very first slice of every dollar belongs to you, your future, your freedom, not the landlord, not the credit card company, not the department store, you. When I was young, I used to think I couldn't afford to save. But then I learned the truth. I couldn't afford not to. Someone once challenged me to set aside 10% of every paycheck, no matter how small. At first it seemed impossible, but I forced myself to do it, and something remarkable happened. The discipline built strength, and over time, those little deposits grew into something significant. More importantly, it changed the way I saw money. I began to realize that wealth isn't about making a fortune first. It's about building the habit of keeping a portion of whatever you make. So don't wait until you make more. Start today. Take the first 10% off the top, automatically, without negotiation. Pay yourself first, and your future will thank you. Wages are honorable. They put food on the table and clothes on your back. But wages alone were never designed to make you wealthy. Wages make a living, but profits build a fortune. And the difference is simple. Wages come from what you do for someone else. Profits come from what you create for yourself. The marketplace doesn't reward hours, it rewards value. And when you step into the world of profits, you start multiplying your efforts far beyond your time. I still remember when I was just working for wages, always waiting for the next paycheck, always stuck in the same cycle. Then I was taught to take a portion of what I earned and turn it into something that worked for me, whether it was a small business, a product, or an investment. At first it was modest. A few dollars here, a small venture there. But the idea wasn't about size, it was about ownership. Once you own something that produces profits, you've taken your first step toward freedom. Don't wait for the perfect idea. Look at your skills, your knowledge, even a problem you've solved for yourself. Package it, test it, and put it into the marketplace. Start this month and let profits begin building your fortune. If you can't manage a little, you'll never manage a lot. That's one of life's oldest lessons, and it applies perfectly to money. People often say, if only I had more, I'd be better with it. But that's not true. If you're careless with $100, you'll be careless with $100,000. Money doesn't change who you are. It simply magnifies the habits you already have. I learned early that discipline doesn't arrive with more income. It begins with what's already in your hands. I remember when I was broke, carrying a few dollars in my pocket, and realizing that how I treated that little determined if I was ready for more. Respect every dollar. Don't let even the smallest coin slip through without accountability. That's the seed of wealth. The practical way to build this habit is simple. For the next 30 days, write down every expense, every coffee, every snack, every little purchase. At the end, you'll see a map of your habits, some serving you, others stealing from you. That awareness alone will transform the way you treat money. Because if you prove faithful with the small, life has a way of trusting you with the greater. The real secret to wealth is learning how to earn while you sleep. If the only time money comes in is when you show up to work, then you'll always be on the treadmill of trading time for dollars. That's not freedom, that's survival. True freedom is when your assets, your businesses, or your investments start working for you. Even when you're not working, imagine waking up in the morning and realizing that money flowed into your account while you were resting. That's the kind of system you want to build. It begins with a decision to shift from being only a worker to also being an investor. Every paycheck should have a portion carved out for assets, things that produce income, not just consume it. Businesses, real estate, dividend stocks, index funds, these are vehicles that can keep paying you long after the labor is done. I remember the first time I earned money from an investment while I was away. It felt like a new world opened. Suddenly I understood wealth wasn't about working harder, it was about working smarter. Start small, but start now. Automate an investment, even a modest one, into something that compounds. Because freedom begins when your money develops a job of its own. One of the greatest traps that keeps people from building wealth is using debt to finance luxuries. It feels good in the moment, doesn't it? The new car, the latest gadget, the fancy vacation, all put on credit. But here's the truth. When you owe money for something that doesn't produce income, you're not buying freedom, you're selling it. Debt tied to consumption is nothing more than financial slavery, because long after the excitement wears off, the payment remains. Now, there's nothing wrong with enjoying luxuries. I enjoy them myself. But the principle is simple. Let your assets pay for them, not your wages, and certainly not borrowed money. That's how the wealthy think. If you want that new car, first build an investment that throws off enough income to cover the payment. If you want the trip, create a stream of profit that funds it. Then you can enjoy it without guilt, without debt, and without undermining your future. The strategy is to practice delayed gratification. Redirect one luxury purchase into an investment account this month. You may not get the thrill today, but soon enough, you'll experience something greater. The thrill of knowing your money is working for you, not against you. Most people drift financially because they don't have a clear picture of where their money goes. It's like sailing without a compass. Any direction feels right until you crash into the rocks. The truth is, what gets measured improves. If you don't know how much you earn, how much you spend, or how much you owe, you'll never know how close or how far you are from freedom. I remember the first time I sat down and put everything on paper. Income, expenses, debts, and assets. It was sobering, but it was also empowering. Suddenly, I could see the leaks in my ship. I could see where I was sabotaging myself and, more importantly, where I could make changes. The strategy is simple. Document everything. Track your income as it comes in. Record your expenses as they go out. Log your debts and update your investments. Don't leave it to memory. Memory is too unreliable. Write it down, keep a ledger, use a spreadsheet or an app. But make it visible. When you track, you build awareness, and awareness leads to control. The practical step is this. Today, create a simple system to log every flow of money. It's not about perfection, it's about clarity. With clarity, you gain power. With power, you gain freedom. Before you invest in stocks, real estate, or any asset, invest in the one thing that can never be taken away, yourself. Your skills, your knowledge, your discipline, your character. These are wealth multipliers far greater than any market return. If you put money into a business but don't have the skills to manage it, it won't last. But if you grow yourself, if you develop competence, resilience, and creativity, you'll find ways to create wealth again and again, no matter the circumstances. I learned early that the marketplace doesn't pay for need, it pays for value. If you want to earn more, you must become more. Don't chase money, chase the skills and habits that attract money. The strategy is simple. Make personal growth your first investment. Learn communication, leadership, sales, financial literacy, or any skill that multiplies your value. If you improve, your earning power improves. If you stagnate, so does your income. The practical step is clear. Every day, devote at least 30 minutes to growth. Read a book, take a course, listen to a mentor. Feed your mind, sharpen your skills, expand your thinking. When you invest in yourself first, every other investment becomes far more valuable. Wealth begins in the mind long before it shows up in the bank. Knowledge compounds faster than money, and that's why you must always learn faster than you earn. I've met people who doubled their income in a few years, but because they didn't grow in wisdom, they lost it just as quickly. The truth is, money without understanding is temporary. But when knowledge leads the way, wealth follows and stays. The strategy is simple. Dedicate a portion of every paycheck to your education. Buy books that stretch your thinking. Attend seminars that challenge your habits. Hire mentors who've walked the path you want to travel. If you're willing to spend money on entertainment, you should be even more willing to spend on your own growth. When you invest in personal development, you're buying a tool that multiplies your earning capacity for the rest of your life. Here's the practical step. Commit 5% of every paycheck to learning, not someday, this paycheck. It could be a book on finance, a course on communication, or coaching and leadership. Over time, those small deposits of wisdom create exponential returns. Remember, when you learn faster than you earn, you'll always stay ahead. Your income will always have a direct relationship with the size of the problems you solve. If you're only solving small problems, you'll only receive small rewards. But the moment you decide to take on bigger challenges, you open the door to bigger opportunities. Wealthy people don't just work harder, they work on larger, more meaningful issues. They search for inefficiencies, pain points, and unmet needs, then create solutions that others are willing to pay for. The strategy here is to train your eyes to see problems not as obstacles, but as opportunities. Every complaint you hear in the marketplace is a clue. Every inefficiency you notice is an open door. When you approach life with the mindset of a problem solver, money becomes a natural byproduct. Instead of asking, "Why doesn't someone fix this?" start asking, "What can I create that makes life easier, faster, or better for others?" The practical step is simple but powerful. Take out a sheet of paper and write down 5 problems you could solve for others at work, in your community, or in the marketplace. One of those problems, developed with discipline and creativity, could change your financial future forever. You will always rise or fall to the level of the people you keep closest. If you spend time with those who waste, complain, or live without discipline, little by little, that becomes your standard too. But if you walk with builders, men and women who are intentional about growth, wealth, and contribution, you cannot help but stretch yourself. The environment you choose is shaping you every day, even when you don't notice it. The strategy then is to deliberately align with disciplined earners and investors. Seek out those who speak the language of growth, not gossip. Spend time with people who discuss opportunities, not just problems. Watch how they think, how they handle setbacks, how they allocate money. It is impossible to be around consistent action takers without catching some of their fire. The truth is, you don't need to reinvent every wheel. You can compress years into days by learning from the company you keep. Here's the practical step. This month, attend one mastermind, seminar, or wealth-focused group. Step into a room where the conversations are bigger than your current level. You might feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is growth in disguise. Surround yourself with builders, and you will start building too. One of the greatest lessons about wealth is learning the balance between patience and urgency. You must be patient with compounding, but impatient with action. Too many people reverse this. They hesitate. They wait for the perfect time to start, and yet they expect results overnight. That is not how it works. Habits must begin immediately. The seed must go in the ground today. But once it's planted, you have to give it time to grow. The strategy is simple. Take daily financial actions, however small, and trust the invisible hand of compounding to do its work over time. $1 saved and invested doesn't look like much, but stack those actions day after day, month after month, and soon you'll have a foundation that cannot be shaken. Compounding is quiet in the beginning, but explosive in the end. The practical step is to commit to a 12-month streak of saving and investing without skipping. No excuses, no delays. Think of it like training at the gym. You don't see results in a week, but a year of consistency transforms you. Be impatient with the doing, but patient with the becoming. Start now, stay steady, and compounding will reward you. We've covered a lot of ground together. But let me leave you with this. Wealth is not built in a day, but it is built daily. It's not about luck, it's about discipline. It's not about what you earn, it's about what you become in the process. The real prize is not the bank account, it's the character, the mindset, the wisdom you gain while building it. Money is simply a reflection of who you've become. So here's the call to action. Don't just listen, act. Start small if you must, but start today. Save that first 10%. Track that first $100. Invest in that first course or skill. Write down your financial goals and review them. Plant seeds every single day and be patient enough to let them grow. The greatest mistake you can make is to walk out of here inspired but unchanged. Inspiration without action fades. Discipline with action compounds. The seasons of wealth are waiting for you. Learn, plant, nurture, harvest, and protect. And remember, the greatest freedom is not just having money. It's becoming the person who can create it, sustain it, and multiply it. Start today. The future is yours.